Hello, welcome to WYTV7 Christian Broadcasting Network. This is Health and Wellness Conversation. Thank you for joining me, Wellness Nurse Gwen, for this conversation. Happy November. Did you know that November is Diabetes Awareness Month? Do you or a loved one have diabetes? Have you been told that you are pre diabetic? Are you living with diabetes? This month, we are going to talk about diabetes. Today, I thought it would be important for us to go over what diabetes is and some of the signs and the symptoms. Also, to talk about prediabetes. A lot of people may be pre diabetic and not even know it. So, for you to be considered pre diabetic, do you know your family history? Do you have a strong family history of diabetes? Do you know your body mass index? Is your body mass index above 22 to 25? Are you active or are you late in inactivity? Do you know what your hemoglobin A1C is? Is it above 7? Are you a woman that has been diagnosed with gestational diabetes? Are you an obese person? Have you recently had a shift in your weight where you have rapidly lost weight? These are some of the questions that you may want to answer and look at to consider if you are a diabetic, pre diabetic. Signs of diabetes can be blurred vision, rash on your skin, excessive thirst, excessive tiredness, hunger, excessive urination, pain and tingling and numbness in your extremities, such as your feet and your hands, toes, and fingers. Also, weight loss, sores and infections that do not heal. Have you experienced any of these things? If so, I highly encourage you to seek medical attention and get some blood work done to see if you are diagnosed as a pre diabetic or a diabetic. There are three types of diabetes. We have diabetes type 1, we have diabetes type 2, and we also have gestational diabetes. Diabetes type 1 has been referred to as juvenile diabetes. This disease affects the pancreas. So the body does not produce insulin properly. This type of diabetes in younger adults is very dangerous and can be very harmful to the host that has it. Older persons are apt to having type 1 diabetes, but usually it's after they have a virus. The virus attacks the pancreas. In turn, the body is not producing insulin. Type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is usually referred to as an older person's disease. Type 2 diabetes is no longer referred to as an older person's disease. In this society, we now have persons in juvenile ages, such as 10 years old, being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. We have insulin in our body in excess that is running rampant. Our bodies are trying to get rid of it, but it doesn't know exactly where to go. So, i.e., the frequent urination or drinking more to get rid of the glucose that is in our bodies. Diabetes also affects pregnant women. So, usually, somewhere between the second and third trimester, the obstetrician will check the lady's glucose in a test. This test is not pleasant because you have to drink a glucose filled drink for them to draw your blood or check your urine to see what your glucose is. Gestational diabetes is very tricky because usually these ladies can become very brittle diabetics later on in life. So you really want to monitor if you are pregnant, your glucose levels and how you take care of yourself and how you take care of yourself after you give birth. Gestational diabetes usually goes away after the baby has been delivered, but diabetes can resurface at any time. Diabetes also is a disease that affects the entire body, not just the metabolism of your body, but diabetes can affect your skin. Diabetes can affect your eyes. Diabetes can affect your cardiovascular system. Diabetes can affect your renal system. Diabetes can affect your urinary system and each part of your body. Some things that go along with diabetes are things such as heart disease. Because we have this extra sugar, insulin, glucose in our bodies, it can cause things such as plaque, which can cause hardening of arteries and also clots. So we want to be mindful of our glucose. We want to be mindful if we are a pre-diabetic or a diabetic. Things that seem to be simplistic, but we probably take advantage of, are simple things to avoid pre-diabetes and diabetes, such as cardiovascular activity, walking, running, jumping jacks, getting on the elliptical, getting on the treadmill. 30 minutes a day can actually make a great change in your life. Also, the content. Are we reading food labels? Do we see what people are actually putting into the food that we eat and consume? Are we actually looking at what we're cooking at home? Are we cooking and consuming things that have a lot of sugar added to them? And then are we adding sugar to those products? Are we drinking a lot of sugary drinks? Are we eating a lot of candy? Um, I know some people say, well, candy, sugar really doesn't give you diabetes. True. But if you have a strong family history of diabetes or considered a pre diabetic or a diabetic, you want to ward off things that are going to cause you to have a higher glucose. So that would be sugary sweet things, and that would also be unhealthy carbohydrates. We want to monitor these things so we can have a healthy glucose, which we will talk about later. Other things that we want to monitor is our weight. Now, I'm not saying that you can be obese and you're committed to having diabetes because certainly that's not the case. Because you can be thin and appear to be healthy and you could be a brittle diabetic as well. It depends on activity and what we consume. We want to consume more whole foods, more natural foods, organic foods if we can, and we want to be more active. We want to look at ourselves as a whole and not say, oh, I'm just doing this for that. If we don't monitor our intake and our activity, we can easily succumb to diabetes, especially if we have some of the signs and symptoms already. I want to thank you for coming to WYTV7. I want to thank you also for looking at us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and also YouTube, also iHeartRadio. So please, if you enjoy the conversations that we are having, please feel free to donate to us on Facebook at WYTV7 Christian Broadcasting. We are a nonprofit broadcast and we enjoy coming to talk to you on a weekly basis about topics such as diabetes. So, back to the conversation of diabetes. I want to give you a little story about my family and diabetes. I'm 46 years old and I have had 17 members of my family succumb to diabetes and comorbidities of diabetes. That is why I'm so passionate about teaching and helping persons live with or without diabetes. Diabetes is a disease that you need to know about. Diabetes is a disease that you want to be active in. You don't want to just assume that I'm taking the pill, I'm taking a shot, and it's okay. The more information that you have, the more you can help yourself. My family members are gone, but it instilled in me a practice to live a healthy life. That practice I in turn gave to my children as well. So, even though your family history, medical history, may be one way, it doesn't have to be you that has to carry that type of legacy on, as I selected not to. 17 family members in 46 years. That's a lot of people. You have to be willing to change your mindset. You have to be willing to change your diet. You have to be willing to be a little bit more active in your life to be a healthier person for the people not only around you, but for the people that love and care about you. Nonetheless, you have to want it for yourself. Our bodies are our temples. God gave us these bodies. These bodies are blessings. He gave us these bodies to do His work and His will. It's not for us that we should be completely doing this work for, but it's to bless others. You never know what your testimony, what your story, your health can do to bless someone else. So why not follow your health, be more apt about it, and be a blessing with your health and your wellness? This month, we will talk about diabetes. We're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about activity, and we're going to talk about stress. These are factors that are very important in glucose and elimination of diabetes. It's my pleasure to bring you health and wellness conversations, and I look forward to the month of November and talking about diabetes. Live and be well.